Welcome, brilliant minds. Today we are going to build on the background we did yesterday about Muslim Americans and Trump's travel ban in order to begin working on our GDCAP Islam Unit 3. We are going to be investigating this question over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4 documents. So before we can begin looking at these documents, we need to make sure we really understand the question we're focusing on. The question reads, is the travel ban a reasonable order to protect the U.S., or is it an act of religious discrimination against Muslims? Let's first circle the word travel ban because it's a little bit unfamiliar, but we learned about it last class. If you can turn back on your notes, you'll see that you had vocabulary about travel ban that said to not allow some people to enter the country. So we can flip back, and here we can say, some people not allowed to enter U.S. Okay? And this question is asking us, is a travel ban a reasonable order to protect the U.S.? Is it trying to do a good thing and protect, or is it an act of discrimination, which would be a negative thing of treating people unfairly? And I know that discrimination means to treat people unfairly because of my definitions from yesterday as well. So now I want to see if I can write this in my own words. So in my own words, how can I say this whole big idea? Well, it's really about is the travel ban. So it's about this main topic. So I want to say is the travel ban. That's a good start. Is a travel ban. And I want to know what it is. Is it positive or is it negative? Is it protecting or discriminating? So I'm going to say is the travel ban protecting or discriminating against Americans? Maybe another way of saying this is it positive or negative? So I could also write, is the travel ban positive or negative for Americans? You can go ahead and write either one of these down, or you can write it in your own way. If you need to pause the video now, you can do that to make sure you have the question written in either one of these ways or in your own words. Now that we understand the question better, we can better analyze the 4 documents in this DBQ. So we're going to make sure that we are focusing today on source 1. We want to see, does source 1 say that it is more of a protection or discrimination? We can only check one, and we want a quote to prove that. That's our objective, to make a claim and to get a quote to back up that claim. So let's turn the page and look at some of our directions. If you take a look at the directions here, you'll see that you have the context we read about yesterday, the investigation question that we just broke down, and then here's what we have to do. Number 1, read and annotate the following 4 documents. Well, annotate is going to mean using thieves as well as using catch. Collect evidence in the documents. This evidence is going to be quotes. Write an essay responding to the investigation question using your knowledge of history and quotes from at least 2 documents to support your argument. For your Unit 3 GDCAP, you'll be expected to write 2 paragraphs. So you want quotes from at least 2 documents in order to write our essay. Okay. So now let's take a look at source 1 more in depth. The first thing I want to do is I want to set myself up to annotate by writing here a reminder that I'll be using thieves, and that as I begin reading, I'll be using catch. Okay. So for thieves, I first want to look at the title. So this title is quotes from Donald Trump, source 1, excerpts from, and then here we see the title. I think Islam hates us, a timeline of Trump's comments about Islam and Muslims. So I've got my title, I can check off that T, and now I want to look at the headings. So we see 2 kind of big sections. The first section is comments about Muslims and Islam while running for president. So this is during 2016 when he was on campaign. And this heading says tweets from Donald Trump about the travel ban dating June 5th to September 15th of 2017. So this is actually in 2017 when he was presidency. When he was a president. Okay. So this is when he's running for president. This is when he actually is president. We can see that these headings right here are all dates. So this is kind of like our timeline. And now we're going to go ahead and read. So we've done our title, we've done our headings. We can see some of the visuals that these are actual tweets from Trump. And as we begin to read, we're going to circle any unfamiliar words, acknowledge the confusion, and make sure we're eventually working to capture the main idea and highlight any details. Let's begin on November 16th, 2015, while he's in campaign mode. After a series of terrorist attacks in Paris, Trump said on MSNBC that he'd strongly consider closing mosques. I would hate to do it, but it's something you're just going to have to strongly consider because of some of the ideas and some of the hatred, the absolute hatred, is coming from these areas. So what is he saying he's going to do if he's president? He's saying he would close mosques. Well, remember, a mosque, circling that unfamiliar word, a mosque is a house of worship for Muslims. So it's where Muslims go to pray. This is really important because it's saying that it would close down where people pray even if they're not the ones who are terrorists, just because of their religion. So this is something that would actually be very negative for Muslims. And we're going to go ahead and put whether each of these is negative or positive for Muslims on the right side here. Okay, so we're making sure that we're annotating our text as we go. So we've acknowledged our confusion. We know what mosques are now. We know it would be negative for Muslims. We're talking to the text. And we're highlighting any details we see. Okay. November 20th, 2015. In comments to Yahoo and NBC News, Trump seemed open to the idea of creating a database of all Muslims in the United States. Later, he and his aides said they would not rule out the idea. So a database is a word I would like to know more about, and I see that it has a footnote here. So I'm going to come down and see if this gives me more information. Scroll all the way to the bottom. It says 4. A database is a collection of information. This database would be a collection of personal information about Muslims in the United States. So this would be a collection of personal information about Muslims. So that might be their birth date, maybe how much money they have, maybe it would be their address, where they live. So this would really make something that is private into something that is public, that lots of people could see. I don't think I'd want everyone to have access to how much money I make, where I live, or the birth date. So I think that this is something that might be also negative for Muslims because they might not want all of that private to become public. Okay, let's go on to the next one. December 3rd, 2015. The morning after Syed Rizwan Farook and Tashfeen Malik killed 14 people in San Bernardino, California, Trump called into Fox News and said, the other thing with terrorists is you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. So to take out means to kill. So it's saying that even if someone in your family does something you disagree with, that you deserve to die, even if you haven't done anything wrong. I think death is definitely something that would be obviously negative for Muslims, so I'm going to add another negative sign here. December 7th, 2015, Trump's campaign issued a statement saying Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. Trump read this statement aloud at a rally in South Carolina. So what is he saying he's going to do? He said that he's going to close mosques. He's going to create a database. Here he's going to kill or take out people's families. And here he's saying he's going to shut down of Muslims entering the United States. So shutdown means that he would stop. Right? He would stop them from entering the United States. I want you to decide, do you think that this is negative or positive for Muslims? If he stops them from entering the States, is that negative or positive? I'm going to add to that circle right there. For December 13th, 2015, on Fox News, Trump was asked if his ban would apply to Canadian businessmen who is Muslim. Trump responded, there's a sickness. There are sick people. There's a sickness going on. There's a group of people that is very sick. So I'm going to underline this. There's sick people. He's talking about a Canadian businessman who's Muslim. And I want you to decide, do you think that this statement, there are sick people, is saying something positive or negative about Muslims? And go ahead and add that annotation in there. March 9th, 2016. On CNN, Trump said, I think Islam hates us. There's something there that there's a tremendous hatred there. There's a tremendous hatred. We have to get to the bottom of it. There's an unbelievable hatred of us. I want you to underline what you think is an important detail, and I want you to make sure that you're adding whether you think it's positive or negative about Muslims. After you've done that, we can move on to his tweets as president. Let's read together. People, the lawyers and courts can call it whatever they want, but I am calling what we need, and that is a travel ban. So he's talking about the travel ban, and it looks like he's saying that he supports it because he's saying it's what we need. The Justice Department should have stayed with the original travel ban, not the watered-down, politically correct version they submitted to SC. So it says they should have stayed with the original travel ban, again, supporting it, because saying they should have stayed with it. Okay. Here we see this department should ask for an expedited hearing of the watered-down travel ban before the Supreme Court and seek much tougher version. So he wants an even tougher travel ban. So this is, again, supporting it and saying it should even be tougher. The travel ban in the United States should be far larger and tougher and more specific, but stupidly, that would not be politically correct. So again, saying that he wants the travel ban to be tougher. So again, we see a fourth tweet in support of the travel ban. So I would say of these two sections, from at least my notes, the first part, it seems like these are negative about Muslims and supporting the travel ban. So I'm going to say that I can capture my main idea using my details. I can capture my main idea by writing down that it's saying that there is a connection between a negative view of Muslims and support for the travel ban. Okay, so this is my main idea. I'm going to use this main idea. I'm going to use the text evidence, details, and quotes I found in order to decide whether I think that source one supports that it's either protection, it's a positive thing, or it's discrimination, which is a negative thing. I can only check one. So right now you want to make a decision. Is it mostly protection or is it mostly discrimination? You can pause the video if you need to go back and read to decide which one it is. And once you've done that, you're going to go back and you're going to want to find a quote to achieve your objective. You can feel free to go back to make sure that you've chosen a quote to support whether you think it's protection or discrimination using all the notes we took. And then make sure that once you've checked your claim and you've added your quote, that you're also adding your name. This is really important because Ms. Casey is not only going to check your work today, she's also going to collect it to make sure you have it tomorrow to continue on source number 2. Thank you for your hard work today.